open Murcielago LP640 taillights. This is the most expensive taillights I've ever opened. I've done it one other time, so I do know how to do it. Doesn't make it any less scary though. So the big $2,500 question is, are we going to bake or cut these open? And we're gonna cut them. When I opened these before, I spent probably 3 or 4 days straight baking and trying to pry them open. I was able to get the back housing loose from the lens on the outside, but the seal is this foamy perma seal that would not let go on the inside. I needed some sort of hook. I ended up using picks and stuff to try and get all of it loose, and I couldn't get enough of it under there without cracking the lens. It started to break the tab that drops down into the housing. It started to break that more than it was making the seal come loose. So unfortunately, you have to cut it open. There really is no other way. Let's start with the tools that we'll need. Starting with the cling wrap. This is gonna be used to set on the lens so that you don't scratch the lens whenever you put the lens on its face so you can cut. Next up, Wonder Cutter. This is an ultrasonic cutter. It's got a very, very thin blade on it, and that is going to have the thinnest cut possible on the lens. After that, we've got pocket screwdriver, flathead, and really big flathead screwdriver. This is mostly what I use. I'll use that to get in and just slightly turn it so that the lens can lift up. This is if it's giving us issues. Shoe glue is what we use to hold the lenses back onto the back housing. It holds really well and it removes relatively easily if you need to. After that, we use black silicone 2. This stuff has been the best for sealing up lights. It doesn't leak or shrink, and some sort of protection for the light. I personally don't like setting the light directly on the table because you have the potential to like scratch or break something, so just some sort of foam. I've seen some people use cardboard as well. I'll stick with foam. If you don't have an ultrasonic cutter and don't want to buy one, you can use a Dremel. They have those really thin diamond bits that cut pretty well. That guy right there, that's pretty good. I personally love the extension that they sell because the main Dremel gets super hot, but this part doesn't. The Dremel is just a lot messier, so I like to stick with the ultrasonic cutter. First, we're gonna start with cling wrap. Cling wrap on, now we can safely put it on its face. You will notice that I have the entire harness for the brake lights, turn signal, reverse lights, everything is off of the back. You don't have to do that. The lens will come off whether you take those out or not, but we were already revamping those. All of this was rusted down here, so that's not necessary, but you can if you want to. Scary moment, now it's time to start cutting. I'm gonna show you the cut line and then I'm gonna do it. You're literally going to follow the line in between the lens and the housing. You wanna get exactly in between there, all the way around. Now, up here, this isn't too bad, and even on the bottom, it's really not bad. It's these corners that you have to worry about. You see how the lens shoots way out like this, but the actual lens is all the way in here. So it is a little tricky. It should be easier with the ultrasonic cutter compared to the Dremel, but it is like that on both sides. So you'll have to watch out for that. Okay, well, the ultrasonic cutter wasn't working. I don't know why, it just kept shutting itself off while I was trying to cut it, so I ended up using the Dremel. Dremel actually went pretty well, but that's why it's a good idea to have 2 different options for whenever you're trying to cut open a light. And with the lens off, you can actually see the permaseal that they use in here, and it is thick. It does not move. Doesn't matter how much heat you put on it. It's really hard to budge. Once you have the lens off, you can do your modifications or any of your repairs and then put the lens back on. Me personally, I'm going to repair this. We're gonna go ahead and put the chrome back on here, and we're going to have to seal up a hairline crack that's in that lens. I'm gonna show you how I seal up lenses that have been cut off, but it won't be this light. This light won't be done for several more days. So I wanna go ahead and get this video edited for you. We're gonna show you how I seal up lenses using a Honda Civic light. It's the exact same process. Okay, for this next step, you're gonna need shoe goo or goop and tape. Okay, your housing has nice clean edges. There's no dust on the inside of the lens, no dust on the inside of the housing. So I actually try to make sure that, one, this fits. I do a little test fit, test mock-up first. Everything looks okay. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna set everything in place and use your tape. Okay, tape is on. So what I'm looking for whenever I do this is to match OEM fitment. Now it's time to add your shoe goo or goop. And you're gonna put it right inside the crack, in between the housing and the lens. I like to do 3 or 4 spots on this one. 3 is gonna be plenty. On this big one, 4 is definitely gonna be recommended. Time to do the same to these. Okay, you're gonna wanna leave these sitting for at least 24 hours. I like to make sure that that adhesive is really cured before I mess with it. I don't wanna accidentally move the lens and make the alignment off. Okay, it is the next day. The adhesive is fully cured, so now we can actually put in the silicone to seal it up and make it watertight. This is the silicone I use. Just make sure that you get silicone 2. Silicone 1 shrinks after a little bit and silicone 2 does not. They sell it in multiple different colors. I always use the black one. It looks the cleanest. Before adding the silicone, I like to inspect the lens and make sure that there is no dust or debris inside, because we still have these cracks, so we can actually use our compressed air and clean it out before we seal it up. Okay, this is all sealed up. We do have to let this cure. I think cure time on this is just a couple of hours, so that's not too bad. I'm just about to seal up the LP640 light, and before I do, I just wanted to show you how good it looks now that we did the refurbishment. Look at how clean the bottom came out. It looks so good. It's red, but that's only because of the reflection. It's actually all chrome. It looks so good. I've already done the adhesive, so now I'm actually gonna run the silicone on it, and I'm gonna let that completely cure, do 1 more layer of silicone, and then I'm actually gonna water leak test it. And that means I'm just gonna run water all over the lens and all over the sides and everything. And if I see any water on the inside, we're gonna dry it out and then do another layer of silicone. Once the water leak test passes, we're done with the lights. We can box them up and ship them out. And that's how you open and close Lamborghini LP640 taillights. Okay, bye.